Hi, I'm Sam Sorbo with the Accidental Homeschooler. Thank you so much for joining me, and also I want to thank you up front for sharing this video and letting other parents know that there are resources out there for them to encourage them, like this one, because that's what I'm all about. Now, I've been talking with some of the parents who are brand new to homeschooling, but the COVID thing just got them completely, zonkered, and they said, okay, we got to try the homeschooling thing. And what they are experiencing right now is a little bit of backlash from their kids, because their kids are saying, hey, why are you all of a sudden the authority now, and why should I listen to you? And let's face it, these are disciplinary problems. These are parenting issues. They're not educational issues. And you have to get the parenting issues under control first. And as I say in my book, they're your kids. Homeschooling is about discipline, but it's as much about discipline of the parent as it is about discipline of the child. So let's talk about that for just a second. So your kids are just running crazy. Maybe the older one is like settled down with the book, but she can't stand the fact that everyone else is making so much noise and you're being pulled. One child grabs your hand and just yanks on you incessantly, and you're trying to have a conversation with the other one, and you're just going, how can I possibly get this done? Because you're thinking that you have to perform like a school. Stop it. You don't have to do what the schools do. What the schools do is fail. And you don't want that. So stop thinking that way and take the few days or weeks that it will take to get the discipline issues in your home under control. When you wanted to learn something, or let's put it this way, when you didn't want to learn something, could anybody have taught you that thing? No, because you weren't open to learning it. You're not going to be able to teach your children anything if they're busy fighting against the new paradigm. So shift the paradigm for them and say, this is how we're going to run things now. So this is what I need you to do. Work on incentivizing good behavior, disincentivizing bad behavior, and get all the behavior stuff, for the most part, under control, because until you get that under control, there's no education that can happen. There's no learning that will happen. Does that make sense? If you need to bring your studies down to a very basic level, okay, so that it's only half an hour a day until the whole discipline stuff gets handled, then do that. And so what I mean is, if you can come up with other activities, and by the way, other activities are learning activities. Let's bake cupcakes. Okay, you're gonna measure the flour. How much flour do we need? Well, we're gonna make a double recipe. So how are we gonna double everything? We need to do some multiplication. Figure that out for me. Do you see what I'm saying? So you're engaging the kids in an activity while you're teaching them a little bit about math and science and baking and stuff, okay? And you are embodying the role of teacher without standing at a blackboard shaking a finger at them, because that's no fun for anybody. Make sure that you assume the role of teacher in a positive capacity and not in a negative capacity. And that takes working on your relationship with your children first. If your relationship is strained, and it very well may be, because up until now, you've told them that the schools have all the responsibility, the schools have all the authority. Okay? So you're in a position where you have to reassert your authority. And that's a difficult position to be in, especially when you're trying to get them to behave and get them to learn stuff. By the way, the whole learning thing, we think about it just completely wrong, okay? So take a step back and understand. If you remember potty training, when I was potty training one of my children, it was a really tough road. And I just started saying to myself, well, by the time they're 16, they'll be potty trained. By the time they're 16, they will know math. By the time they're 16, they will understand how to read a book. By the time they're 16, put it on the long spectrum. Don't try to jump through hoops to get them to do their first grade SATs. Don't do that. Take the moments that it takes to discover who your child is before you start to stick them in the mold. Does that make sense? All right, we'll leave it there for now. Please share this video if you enjoyed it with other struggling parents. I'm gonna do a whole series like this because it's a parental struggle. It's not a teacher struggle. And you have to take the role, and we don't combine the role of parent and the role of teacher unless you're a dedicated homeschooler. And once you get into the homeschool paradigm, the real homeschool paradigm, you don't understand that. And then once you get in it, you go, it's like an epiphany. I promise you, if you just stick with it, you will get there, and it'll be like an epiphany, and you'll say, oh, that's what they're talking about. That's what they've been talking about all this time. So you have that in store for you. Just hold down the fort, take on the role of parent, and really parent your children before you start becoming their teacher, before you try to teach them things. If you're having these authority struggles, that's what they are. They're authority struggles. So get that straightened out as you move ahead. Now, once you bake the cupcakes, say, okay, but if you want to eat a cupcake, you got to read 5 pages in your book for me, or you got to read for half an hour in your book for me. Okay? And then you've created the incentive, and oh, they want to try that now. And so now you gently assert the authority and the discipline. Okay? All right. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and share. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.